Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fleet Showcase. The Fleet Showcase is where we look at different fleets from different games, or different ships from different fleets from different games. Now, in this video, we have a small part of the British fleet. I'll be featuring a frigate and two sloops. Now, these ships are from Warlord Games' Black Seas. Here at the store, Black Seas found its audience in a very interesting new crowd. We had the usual gamer who got into Black Seas to play the game. The group is small, but it's a dedicated bunch. However, we have folks walking into the shop from the plumber world or the plastic modeler world. They came to the store to pick up ships to build. The Warlord Games kits are much simpler as compared to the more detailed plastic model kits. But as one of the builders confessed, it's easier to store and to collect. It's a different kind of hobby for sure. Now, Warlord Games then released the iconic ships of the era like the Royal Sovereign and the USS Constitution and all of that. So these were great for the Black Seas range as they started becoming very collectible. Warlord Games also released name ship packs, and these name packs were add-ons to the ranges they were already making. Suddenly, all the generic ships could be upgraded to have names. These add-ons came with backplates and figureheads. So a lot of folks started projects where they wanted to build full name fleets, which I thought was fantastic. So there was a small movement to collect them all, and I must admit, even I was tempted. In today's video, the ships come from the British naval fleet set. And let's look at the ships that make up this fleet. Contrasting to the larger frigates, sloops of war were smaller, small deck vessels typically armed with 10 to 18 guns. In an era where brigs and cutters would carry a modest arsenal, sloops filled a vital niche. These ships were often the first command of ambitious young officers and were tasked with missions where speed and discretion and maneuverability were prized. Their shallow drafts allowed them to operate in coastal, riverine environments. They carried dispatches, hunted privateers, chased smugglers, and enforced blockades in places larger vessels would not reach. Although rarely involved in major fleet battles, their contribution to maritime strategy was immense. Modern tabletop terms, sloops offer players an affordable and flexible tool for the game board. They're excellent at capturing objectives, screening larger ships, carrying out quick strikes. Their historical versatility translate into tactical utility in Black Seas. The HMS Naiad was part of the Royal Navy Fleet set. Now, if you got this set, it came with the components needed to build the Naiad. Personally, I think these small add-ons really help to take the casual gaming shipbuilder into realms of the beginner historical gaming shipbuilder. Once you put the name on that ship, I personally think that the ship immediately becomes a proper gaming piece and not just another ship in the fleet. Based on naming conventions and naval traditions of the 18th century, HMS Naiad has a carved female figurehead. It represents a naiad, water nymph from Greek mythology associated with freshwater, streams, rivers, and springs and such. Launched in 1797, the HMS Naiad was a 38-gun frigate designed to strike a balance between speed, firepower, and range. Frigates were the workhorses of the Navy, fast enough to scout ahead of the main fleet, and powerful enough to overwhelm most single ship opponents. Naiad embodied this role with distinction. Her most famous moment came in 1804 alongside a small British squadron where she intercepted four Spanish frigates carrying vast quantities of treasure from the Americas. Though the engagement would later be criticized for its diplomatic fallout, it hastened Spain's formal alliance with the Napoleonic France. The capture was a material victory for Britain and a legend in naval circles. Naiad's duties range from blockade enforcement to convoy escort and commerce raiding. She was neither the largest nor the most famous warship of the age, but she was typically of the unsung excellence of the Royal Navy's cruising squadrons. Agile, durable, and captained with professionalism, she exemplified the Royal Navy's global reach, operational versatility during their period. In small games, these ships complement well each other. A Naiad serves as a medium weight powerhouse, fast enough to reposition, strong enough to dominate smaller opponents, and cost effective enough to field in multiples. Sloops shine in more of a role support. Their agility lets them skirt enemy lines, harass from flanks, race towards objectives. In scenarios requiring speed and control rather than brute strength, they are essentially assets. Small commanders use them like fencer foils, probing, countering, and occasionally landing a deadly strike. Together, a squadron with a frigate and two sloops offers a balanced and thematic fleet for narrative campaigns and skirmish battles as well. Laisu did a great job with the ships. The rigging is neat and tidy. And looking at the painting, it was done with a lot of care. There are two threads used to do the rigging. And, well, I wouldn't want to be in the hobby chair when he was doing this rigging because it does take a lot of patience to get this done. But overall, I'm very, very impressive rigging for both the main frigate and the sloops. Now we look over here very quickly into the deck, and the painting is simple, but he managed to pull out a lot of the detail, which is you won't see this on the table while playing, but up close, it really, really shines. And that's where I think these ships really, really take off or sail, if you ask me. Both the sloops are almost identically painted. Actually, they are identically painted, and you can actually differentiate them perhaps with the flag at the back. But having said that, the Naiad is the showpiece right here, and as you can see, it's a really, really beautiful ship. I think Laisu did a great job, and I understand his reluctance to let me feature this. So I'm really glad. Now, if you look closely, I think the red lines are not there on the ships, and this is because I asked Laisu, and Laisu told me that he hasn't found red lines that he wanted to use. The ones that came with the Warlord game set was not really up to his expectations, which I thought was it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to choose to go that way. So perhaps we will feature this at a later date, maybe in a while when he finally finds the red lines that he wants to use. So that's pretty much it. That is the feature of these three ships, part of our Warlord Games' Black Seas set, which is part of the British naval set, of course. Now, if you got the British naval set, you'll have enough components for these 3 ships, plus a whole lot of ships as well. And but if you just want to build a ship, all you need to do is get a frigate and go and get one of the named sets from the Warlord Games' named ship set, and you'll have a Naiad of your own. Overall, very nicely done. Laisu's painting top notch as usual. It's a really joy. It was a big joy for me to feature this, and trust me, there was a lot of care handling these figures to show them to you. Now, if you like these ships or you like naval features, do let me know in the comments, and also encourage Laisu, with his painting by telling him how nice his ships are, and also encourage the channel by giving us a thumbs up and perhaps a comment or two of what else you want to see. So that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.